Hello again. I wanted to do a very quick video today because I know some people look for these every week. And I don't want to not see you every week, but at the same time, it is International Trumpet Guild Conference right now. And right now is actually, there are some research forums going on. There's a class about why you want to definitely attend in person to ITG next year. It's online right now. And there's a recital coming up at 3:30 that I think people should go to. So I'm not going to talk here for an hour or even for a half an hour, but I am going to play a little bit. And we're going to talk about two things. And one of them is that first one, research. It's really important to do some sort of research every day, I think, for trumpet, right? So for instance, if you don't know about the piece that you're playing right now, find out more about the composer. Find out see if you can find out why this piece was written. You might instead, maybe there's something about it in the theory of it, right? Maybe you really need to analyze the piece and you find things that you don't know about. Okay, well then go look those up. Most of the time, if you put the note names, let's say you have a chord and you go, I don't know what kind of chord this is. It's got like whole steps, but it's also got major thirds. I'm not really sure. If you put the note names into Google, it should pull up. There's two different resources, but it'll probably pull up Wolfram Alpha, which will tell you what kind of chord it is. That's a computational engine. It's basically a supercomputer somewhere, and you can utilize its time very briefly to compute that. So, and then you can look up what the name of that thing and go find out more about it, when it was created and by whom and who used it a lot and that kind of thing. So that kind of research. There's also historical research that you should do every day if possible. You can read, if you don't know about the history of jazz, there are several good books on that. If you don't know about the history of the Haydn Trumpet Concerto, there's a book on that that's pretty easy to find. There are other books that are maybe harder to find, but you can just, if you look up trumpet history, there's something to read. And then, of course, there's International Trumpet Guild Journal. And if you're not already a member, you should be. ITG, this is sort of my plug for ITG. That's, like I said, the conference is happening right now online. And there's still time if you, it's only Friday afternoon. There's a whole day of Saturday stuff, too. And then if you join right now, you'll get the magazine, the journal, quarterly throughout the year. So you get 4 of those, plus a CD and whatever other stuff they're going to give. It's usually not a CD, it's a download now, but you'll get somebody's whole album and you'll get a piece of music for free, I mean, for the price of admission, so to speak. So it's really an important thing to join, and it also connects you with the community of other trumpet players, at least one community, right? There are others, but ITG is a really good community and one of the oldest ones, and that's why it's called Trumpet Guild, because that's how we used to learn how to play these in guilds. The knowledge was locked behind that secrecy of the guild, and you had to be in the guild to find out how to do it, right? So that's a really important resource that we've had for a long time, and when you join, you get just, it sounds like a pledge drive, right? When you join, you get access to all of the previous journals that have ever existed, at least up to a certain point that they've archived on a DVD. And so, and you can access everything online now too. So it's an entire, you could just read a different article in between practicing things every day and you'd be really good to go. Anyway, all right. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I forgot to open up my Restream chat. So if somebody's typing in the chat, I haven't seen it, please retype it, because I don't know how this app does, but I don't think it will populate things that I didn't have it open for. So anyway, we're going to play some scales. And I know I did a whole video of scales, but I wanted to show you some other versions of things. So, and like I said, I want it to be fast. So first of all, I mentioned some books. Let's see, let's start with this one. Bill Lucas book, It's Okay to Be a Cat. This is just scale patterns. If you need them written out, he's got a bunch of these books, and this one is just Volume 5, Part 1, Chord Basics. So these are just all your all your chords written out, so that and then ways to practice them, right? So that's a good resource for that if you don't have it. If you don't know what that stuff is off the top of your head, there are lots of resources, but this is, I just studied. He was one of the teachers at Interlochen last summer, and I was also one of the teachers, so I went to all his master classes and found out about this resource. Put that down. There's also, here, let me put these up. There's also the Slonimsky book, which I mentioned earlier. Here's the Slonimsky book. And this book is scale patterns, scales and melodic patterns. So we're going to work out of that one today. We're just going to turn to a random page, and one that we think we can actually play. And he names them all different things, but there's literally, let me see, I'll go to the back of the book and I'll tell you. These are polytonal rhythmic scales. There are, oh gosh, I thought it was more than that. There's 1,300 or more different scale and patterns of scales in here, right? So this is, oh, I'm frozen again. Maybe it's this app that freezes me. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Anyway, let's shut that off. Shut that off. And you know what? I'm going to take the chat down, see if it helps. Okay. So we'll as soon as I get back up here, we'll just do it real quick. And if I freeze again, well, I'll just be frozen, you know? That's life sometimes. Get frozen. Okay, so let's see how long it lasts. It may be that app, that would be great to find out. But anyway, oh, nope, it's not the app. All right, fine. See if it, yeah, it doesn't like it. Interesting. Oh well, at least that means I can use the app sometimes, right? So, and it does seem to be just one of the other apps now. So anyway, I just got back from teaching, so I didn't get to warm up the computer, which so far has been the only solution. So we're just going to flip to a random page we think we can do. These are all in C. So we're going to do one of them in C, just to get the pattern down. And then we'll try to do it in a different key as well, by ear. Nope. One more try. And then we're going to the other camera. Watch, this will be the one though, right? It stays. All right. Let's see, this is the ultrapolation of one note. Yep, that's what I thought. All right, fine. Scene 2, there we go. Hi, everybody. We'll be on the side view today. All right, so this is in the whole tone progression section. Equal division of one octave into 6 parts that's what, in general, whole tone means. And we're going to do number 570. So let me play 569 first. It's just our normal whole tone scale. Whew. All right. Now we're going to do what's called ultrapolation of one note. So what does that mean? Well, I'll show you. Pretty interesting, right? Sounding. But really, what have we done? Every other note is a half step above the next note, right? So it's kind of like a scale in thirds. If that scale were... Oh, this is hard. But organized so that you skip over 2 and then back. So in other words, it's, but it's also that right next to, two whole tone scales a half step apart, basically. And then we're not ultrapolating the first note. So, I mean, that sounds crazy, I know. Is it useful? Yeah. In a jazz context, often you will play something that you can hear really well, but you will add some half steps to it. You'll hit it above it or below it. This was ultrapolation, right? And then he does that in different intervals. So the next ultrapolation is a whole step up. So, but this is pretty simple because this is just the whole tone scale in thirds, right? The next one is in fourth, a fourth up. Right? So these are just different patterns, and this is a book that has in it the thing that we talked about the other day, where I could play all my scales in diatonic. If I'm playing a major scale, I could play, you know, I'll just stay in C for now. Right, all those different intervals, I could do them in diatonic intervals. So in other words, I'm playing whatever the fifth in that key is up, and then back down to the next note and whatever that fifth above is. So then in that case, I might get some tritones or something, and that's fine too. But this book has in it all that stuff, but it also has all of the parallel. So when I was saying, like, what if I always did the major triads, right? Instead of diatonic triads, like, I'm going to do all major triads. Right? This book kind of has stuff like that in it. And so it's a good place to go to get that. And, you know, it doesn't take a lot of time to transpose this into other keys. You could transpose it easily onto paper if you wanted to, or you can just take the rule, right? It's weird just whole tone is funny because there are only two of them, right? There's one that starts on C and then goes to D, and there's one that starts on D flat and goes to E flat. And ne'er the twain shall meet, but also there aren't any more, right? Because there's only two half steps between them, so we don't need to transpose this one. I guess we could do the other one. I could do up a step, right? Well, no, up a half step. Excuse me. Let's try it. Nope, I already fell back into it. This is hard. Yeah, scary. So I obviously can't quite hear this. So maybe what I need to do is think about it in a different way. I'm trying to just transpose these notes that are on the page. What if I think about it like? Yeah, that's the way to do it, right? So I'm thinking about the next note, and then I'm just going to do like a grace note half step above it, and then I could even that out over time, right? So, all right. I guess I can reopen the, well, I don't need to. I'm trying to use the live studio. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I've messed something up again. I need the chat, actually. Chat app. I don't think anybody's going to come on. Hopefully you're all at ITG right now. But I'm going to open it anyway, just in case somebody's there and typing things. There's a couple people watching, it appears to be, so that's good. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I will warm up the computer earlier next time, but like I said, just got home. I still need to eat lunch. I'm dying. All right, so that's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to show you is my my dad's modal exercise that is a very quick way to get a lot of things done very, very quickly. So if you think about Clark, so that we haven't, I don't know that we've played through a lot of the Clark book, but if we haven't, this is what I've been doing all week, where you can do them in different modes, but I find it's really helpful just to knock out all my major scales and arpeggios by just doing, that in every key, right? All the way up. And that gets them out of the way. Everybody knows Clark 2. If you don't, it's in the Clark Technical Studies, right? Yeah. And it's a great way to just knock out, it's everything but the 6th scale degree. So that's a good way to play your scales. And then I can do Clark number 3, right? I always do them with all the repeats though. Each one is repeated once. That way I just really get it under my fingers. I know that it's going to be good, right? So I can do all of those. So I do both of those in every key, one time, every major key. And that's not a lot of work, but it's physically kind of taxing. And I'm doing some lip slurs in there, but I'm relating them to key areas and scales. So it's really just good, quick and dirty. Get all of my arpeggios. That means I'm going to do all of my major arpeggios in second inversion and in root position, and I'm going to get all of my dominant 7th, sort of, it's in a weird order, but this sort of. Right? But close enough. I get the C at the top, I get the E at the bottom. It's like, it's okay, right? It's in some way, and I can do that all by ear. I don't have to look at the Clark book to do it, or I can if I'm having trouble with one. So that's a good place to go. My dad's is kind of like Clark 2, but it's just you go through, you're going to do major, minor, diminished, and Locrian, and then move on to the next one. And you can do them, I'll show you in this ascending order, because then Locrian turns into major for the next one. You've already played most of the notes of it. And I like to do it the opposite way. And then you add articulation to this. So let's see, I'll start on D. Let's see, I was just going to do Clark again, sorry. Right, so then that D Locrian turns into E flat major. So I'll show you real quickly each one of them, right? So let's do F. So it's just a part of a major scale. Real simple pattern, right? And now I'm going to all the way up to the 6th scale degree. And now I'm going to go, I'm going to do minor, right? All right. Then I'm going to do diminished. And then I'm going to do Locrian. So this will be like G flat major starting on F. And I do each one twice, and if I mess it up, I do it 4 more times right. There's a simple rule to get all of those under your belt quickly, and if you go up, it's real easy because you've already sort of cheated on the next scale. So I like to go the opposite way so I can't cheat. I will have played the major, the Locrian one is the major key I left instead of the one I'm going to. All right, so You can do them all pretty quick, and you can start other tonguing patterns as well. Well, I guess we started on F. We'll go. We already did E flat, but I'll go downwards. Huh? How about? I do this, the last one, an extra time just because it feels more musically good. And then so I couldn't go as fast at the beginning, but I go as fast as I can accurately. It doesn't help me to try to go faster than that. I should try to get them all the same speed eventually. So that was slur 2. That was slur 4. For whatever reason, that one's hard for me. The really hard one is slur 3. I'll try that next. You can hear I have to accent it just to get it. But let's see. We can do slur 2, tongue 2, right? And you always want to play with your best sound. You want the notes to center. And you want to feel confident about the fingerings and your tonguing and your air all working together so that everything works out really well. So I could do this forever, and I probably should, but because it's almost 3:30 and that, like I said, there's a recital I want to go see at ITG, I'm going to cut it off here. But I led with that whole idea of doing research every day. When you start to get tired, have a book nearby that's about trumpet and start reading. Even if you only read 2 pages, you'll finish a big book about trumpet history of Bach and Handel and Haydn or whatever. You'll easily finish one every other month, and then you'll know that information. And you might even take notes in your trumpet journal about what you're reading, and then you won't have to necessarily look through the book. You'll just have the page number written down where you found out that information from your trumpet journal. And it might be about the same kind of things that you're practicing in your session anyway. It should be, right? So that's just a sort of a note to doing a little bit of reading every day, and a little bit of a different way to, some different resources for scales and a different way to look at them again. So I didn't want this to be long. I have a bunch of other stuff I wanted to practice for you, but it's ITG. It only happens once a year, so we should all be doing that instead of this. And then, one last final shout out. If you're watching this, there's the University of Kentucky Summer Trumpet Institute is next week, starting on Monday, I believe, Monday through Thursday. And even though they've closed registration, I'm sure if you were just chomping at the bit and you really wanted to get in, I'm sure they would allow you to do that. And so if you see this between now and Monday, just go Google them. They have a website on UK's website, and just email whoever the responsible party is listed at the bottom and ask them if you can get registered, because that's like a little miniature ITG, but you get a lot of one-on-one or at least group-on-one sort of information and master classes and help. And so it's great that these are right next to each other, because you can go to ITG right now and you can go to UK STI next week. And I'll still do these every Friday. Luckily, that isn't a conflict of interest. I'm teaching at the UK camp, but it ends on Thursday afternoon, and so I'll be back here, hopefully with some of those students, and maybe somebody will play for me. We can just kind of extend the camp into my stream. So anyway, thanks everybody for coming, and hope you learned a new couple of ways to play scales, or a new resource, or you're thinking about reading some more about trumpet this week. And